Warning. The following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
And welcome to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week, wherein we look at last week's comics this week.
And throwing a little bit of multimedia news at the end just to keep things interesting.
My name's Casey Johnson. With me, as always,
Gideon Gonzalez.
What do we got going on today?
First, it was kind of a light week this week.
Exceedingly light week.
But my eternal show favorite, Mark Russell, took over Harley Quinn for one issue with Sami Basri, in which she helps a recently released supervillain named the Haphazard.
The Haphazard. Now, this baffles me because you're not a Harley Quinn fan.
Not a big Harley guy, no, but I do love Mark Russell. He's written a fill-in issue before for Harley, and he did the Harley Villain of the Year. And I literally
enjoy the crap out of that.
Yes, exactly. And I buy everything Mark Russell does. So if he just does a fill-in issue on something, I nab it up.
So basically what we're dealing with here is the release of the Haphazard. Not the Hamburglar.
I love that name so much.
After 30 years in prison for embezzling the retirement funds of his fellow characters.
Mm-hmm. Totally not McDonald's characters.
So apparently his, I guess you would call him his halfway guy, tells him, hey, if you need a halfway house, this chick will do it.
Yeah.
And he shows him half Harley Quinn.
Part of Harley's status quo since I think New 52 is that she owns an apartment building that she mostly leases out to like recovering supervillains. Okay.
So she's having trouble trying to do tax returns for criminals. Who knew that you need, as a criminal, a 1099 with a C-section in it?
That's true.
But apparently you do. So we got the Haphazard coming out of prison, doing his Shawshank walk. And we find out that he can do taxes. So she brings him in. Yeah. You can do my taxes. And it's like, are you really going to trust your taxes with somebody called the Haphazard?
I thought he just embezzled hams.
Now, this got even more over the top. I mean, obviously, we got the striped tie to imply.
He's got the little hat.
A little hat to imply the old burgle.
Robble, robble.
Robble. Why is that still funny? So we got also different versions of the Grimace.
Mm-hmm. He's like, what, the Grumpus, I think?
The Grumpus, because nothing can kill the Grimace.
He does like to party.
He does like to party, but he's got a few years on him. Especially when he tries to throw that brick through the window.
And just goes...
Well, that's how it was high pitched.
I'm trying to remember what the clown's name was.
I forgot what the clown's name was, but I love the fact that you would say dumb shit at the end, like, no purchase necessary. Yeah.
You just have these little disclaimers at the end of almost all of the sentences.
Yeah. So, of course, we go through the whole rigmarole. We find out our poor Haphazard has lost 30 years of his life because he's innocent.
Set up
by the owners of this McDonald's clone.
And my favorite gag of the whole issue is when they're found out, they go to their escape slides.
Yes. They jump down the escape slide.
For your life. And they do the little
slide faster. The Grumpus is after us.
The little cross arm motion to go faster just absolutely killed me.
Well, what I like the fact is that the brothers, obviously, you're on your own. And later on, you ask the Grumpus, like, what'd you do with the other brother? And they're like eating burgers. And they look at their sandwiches like, oh, no. Because what the hell are you talking about? I just beat him up a little bit and let him go. I'm not a monster.
He is a purple monster, though.
So that was our sole DC book for, I guess, the week. Marvel pretty much dominated the rest of our...
Manhunter and Terrifics came out as well for my list. But I mean, how many times can I say these books are great? Buy them when there's parts of an ongoing story, Yeah,
I mean, unless they're going to be waving flags about just how truly awesome they are. Yeah. That's pretty much why we skipped New Mutants in the most recent issue. Because,
exactly.
It
was good. Like, it's good. Still a great comic. Just
it's the same as all.
Yeah, not a lot I can really talk about there.
Okay, but Marvel released its new Star Wars issue, and in this storyline, they're picking directly up from the end of Empire Strikes Back.
Not even the end, like kind of like a minute away from the end, because the end of the movie is Luke's got his robo hand. This one, it's just zipping out of Cloud City.
Oh, that's right. It is that little group between them picking him up at the pin or the Bespin line and getting him fixed up.
Lando hasn't stolen Han's clothes yet.
He hasn't. And he's still in the doghouse as far as everybody is concerned.
I really love how much Lando there is in this book. Charles Soule wrote this issue, and he also wrote the Lando mini from a few years ago. And he clearly still has the voice down pat.
Yes, I did. I was hearing the actors' voices as I was reading this. It was a nice, clean read.
Yeah.
It wasn't over encumbered by heavy dialogue, because that's what can happen when you have a comic book that's related to like a movie or TV. Mm-hmm. They take this opportunity to exposite and just gigantic paragraphs trying to explain things.
And I really gotta give a shout out to Jesus Saez's art in this, which looks gorgeous.
It really does.
And he captures all the likenesses when it's not like when Salvador Larroca was on the title and is like, oh, he clearly just traced screen grabs from the movie. Yeah. No, like this is just really good looking photorealistic art.
I love Salvador Larroca because, Ghost Rider and old school 90s Ghost Rider.
Extreme X-Men.
And Extreme X-Men in his non-inking style.
It's like Greg Land, where it's like,
you just had to group the both of them, didn't you?
He used to do great work, and now he kind of just traces
porn.
Yeah, well, Larroca doesn't do porn.
No, but our boy
he does
Greg
trace
Land,
memes, though. He does trace memes.
I gotta wonder if Greg Land is sitting in there with his artist board, and he's just got like whatever porn is going on. He goes, oh, that'll do. There's Storm right there. All right, that's Storm. Puts it up on the screen, just kind of tracing her form. Yeah. Okay, close the mouth. Yeah.
We love you, Greg Land.
No, we don't. Anyway, moving on. We got the 5th issue of Black Panther and the Agents of Wakanda.
I think we should, before we move on entirely, though, we didn't really get to talk about Star Wars much.
Oh, it's because we got so lost in this Greg Land. We got lost in the Greg Lands.
So the big kind of bullet points from this issue is Luke attempts to contact Obi-Wan, but he can't. He's having difficulty like focusing his control of the Force, and even like kind of has an outburst that cracks the window of the ship that he's on,
which pisses off R2.
Yeah, R2's not happy about that.
I guess they did pull that from the movie because at the end, Obi-Wan, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He got nothing. We know why Obi-Wan's not showcasing it. This is not exactly his shining moment.
From a certain point of view.
Oh, you punk bitch, Obi-Wan.
I'm really excited to see some more of Luke hanging out with Yoda between... Because I feel like when he goes back in Return of the Jedi, there's an implication that he's been back before.
Well, there's the implication that he's got a crap load of training.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't there a 6-year gap between Empire and Jedi?
I don't think so.
When they imply as why...
know.
That they've been looking for him.
It's been a hot minute, but like I feel kind of weird they just leave.
Our cameraman is a Star Wars nerd, and he is nodding his head in approval that I am right.
Wow, 6 years. Han was just chilling on the wall for 6 years. Jeez.
That's got to be rough for anybody. Woo. So that means that they were trying to track Boba Fett this entire time. So I guess they just didn't know where Jabba was. Robert, did they not know where Jabba was?
Trying to figure out a way to get to him.
Okay. If you didn't hear him, he says try to find a way to get to him.
Got to get Lando that skiff guard mask.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. We got to get Lando in. He had to get his 1099 with the Section C to get employed by the Hutt.
Leia's got to get the Boosh hat. And when do we get our Boosh comic one shot? That's what I want, Marvel. More obscure bounty hunter one shots.
I think you're asking for one too much.
Hey, Boosh isn't that obscure. I mean, the name is, but.
Although, after what I saw in The Mandalorian, I would totally be down for an IG-88 book.
Oh, man. IG-11, so good. We're going to talk more about Mando later.
We're going to talk a lot about how much we absolutely love fucking IG-11. And there's my F-bomb for the show.
Now we moved on. We've actually talked about the contents of the book.
Now we've talked about the contents of the book because I got a little jump start. We're going to get right into Black Panther and Agents of Wakanda. And I'll tell you exactly why I'm rushing to get into this. Is because we're revisiting a Marvel property that we haven't seen in 15 years. And that is... Adam Warren's Livewires.
Yes, such a fun book about sort of decommissioned LMDs with superpowers.
And they're super cool.
They are.
I love Adam Warren's anything. Mm-hmm. I loved him when he was doing the Dirty Pair for Dark Horse. I love the one shot he did for Bubblegum Crisis. I wish he did all of those still, but oh well.
Still get empowered, which is now a webcomic.
That's true. We get empowered, but it's just not the same.
Galacta, Daughter of Galactus, always a fun one shot.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it's a fun one-off. I don't think he drew it. I think he just wrote it, but this would have been around the same time as Livewires.
No, probably why I glossed over it then.
It's a fun one-shot if you can track it down.
That kills me, the fact that the Livewires didn't go anywhere in 15 years.
It's really weird.
I mean, I actually had to look this up. It was released like between May and August of 2005.
Yeah. But now they're back. And I'm really keen to see it because Gothic Lolita is in the very last frame. And if you've seen Livewires, this frail
looking gothic Lolita is the muscle of the group. I mean, she's the thing that tears the arms off of things. And she's like in the last frame. So I'm really keen to see just what she's going to do this
I
group.
hope my boy Cornfed comes back. 'Cause he was my favorite.
He was in it. He was in the
Oh my
background.
God.
He was the one that had the little...
I missed him.
he was the blonde kid with the tab on his chin.
Hollow Point Ninja and Social Butterfly got most of the attention.
They really did. But we got Cornfed and Gothically in the last page. And in the promo, we see Stem Cell.
Yeah.
So all 5 of them are in
That's
this.
exciting. I really, really liked Dr. Nemesis's inclusion in this issue.
Yes, you know what? I'm hoping that Dr. Nemesis's appearance is going to be the indication of good things to come, because I'll say it right here. Dr. Nemesis is the best X-Men you don't know about.
It's pretty great.
And I wish we could spend some more time talking about how truly awesome Dr. Nemesis was, but we've brought him up before.
Oh, yes.
Anybody that's listened to this show knows how much we love.
Read X Club. Awesome X-Men miniseries that not nearly enough people read.
Yeah, that had Forge in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. It was like all the...
Forge, Beast, and Dr. Nemesis. Such a good book. Such a good book. Just to see the absolute batshit humor that comes out of Nemesis's mouth, because he's clearly self-aware of the nutty scenarios he is in, but he is also self-aware about how intelligent and smarter than he is than everybody around him.
He's if Krieger from Archer was a superhero.
If not smarter than Krieger. Krieger.
I can totally see Dr. Nemesis having a Fort Kick-Ass.
Absolutely. Now, moving quite along, Hawkeye got rebooted. Now, I was apprehensive about this. It's not Fraction Hawkeye.
It is, however, Matt Rosenberg and Otto Schmidt.
Which was not bad.
I really loved this first issue.
I was really excited about this.
Delightful. Otto Schmidt drew a lot of the Green Arrow Rebirth comics, so I thought it was kind of funny seeing him draw the other big Archer in comics.
Yeah, that's a good point. I enjoyed the fact that the opening was the Hood. The Hood is a relatively new Marvel villain. He's kind of like a Joe Schmo who's picked up this demonic cloak and has made himself
a Brian K. Vaughan creation.
That's right. Who also did Runaways. We're Brian K. Vaughan fans, I think. Yeah. So he made the Hood in a Hood miniseries, Hood 1 through 4, where you find out about his origins. He's picked up this magical cloak, probably from a demon, more likely from a demon, and now he's doing his own thing. Because he feels like he needs to do his own thing.
He is a evil magic-y crime boss who's I never realized before his name is a pun until they pointed it out. It's like Parker Robbins, the Hood. I just got that. Robin Hood.
And I hate you now for it.
Oh, it was so great.
So he's got his crowd of minions. He's telling them all his minions about what he's about to do. And he realized that Hawkeye is casually standing in the crowd, just chilling
sipping
out.
a coffee.
And even when he points him out, it's like, I know you. And he's like, yes, you do.
He uppercuts him. Of all the great, and one of the things this book really nails is Rosenberg has that perfect banter and inner monologue for Clint.
Yes.
That's, my favorite exchange is Hawkeye climbs into the Hood's limo and Hood goes, what, you never been in a limousine before? And Hawkeye goes, well, no, I'm not an asshole.
He kind of keeps name dropping the fact that Hawkeye is a has-been. And he's like, didn't you used to be an Avenger? I was like, I still am. Okay.
The Falcon and Winter Soldier show up to investigate what is the main plot focus of the book, which is that there's a new Ronin in town who's killing some mobsters, and they, of course, suspect it's Hawkeye.
Of course, it's no mistake the fact that it's Falcon and Winter Soldier paired together doing this.
With an ad for the Falcon Winter Soldier miniseries coming soon.
Yeah, everything about this particular book pretty much screams, hey, did you watch Endgame? Have you been paying attention? This is what this is all about.
There's a fun exchange where they show up and Red Wing poops on Hawkeye.
And not only ruins his last good shirt, but also the meal he was about to eat.
That your bird? Yes. You tell it to shit on me? Maybe. There's I just love the dialogue in this book so much.
It's good. It's a good follow-up to Fraction, and it does it without trying to mimic Fraction's style. It doesn't have the nice, clean picture frames and the way he likes to do his block work on that one. But at the same time, it's still got Hawkeye's snark, and I really enjoyed that. So
yeah, great issue. Highly recommend picking it up. I'm definitely gonna be following it for the rest of. I think it's a 4 or 5 issue mini.
Oh, they really need to extend that.
Yeah, I hope I mean, Amazing Mary Jane was originally solicited as just a miniseries, but now it's been upgraded to getting 10 issues instead of 5. So,
Really?
It's been delightful.
I have not been following up on that as much as I really wanted
it's
to.
so fun.
I need to. I read up to issue 3, but then I kind of dropped off.
I think it's on 4 right now.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. It's still chugging along.
We got a storm rolling in.
Well, with that, let's go on to Thor #1 by Donny Cates and Nick Klein.
No, you and I roasted this outfit when we first saw it.
Yes, we did.
We really roasted it.
We
and
were fools.
We were fools, and we apologize for that roasting because it actually makes sense now.
A buddy of mine was like, hey, check out the last page of Thor. And I was like, okay. I was like, oh, shit, I should probably read this because that's cool and actually sells me on the outfit.
Okay, so when we first saw this outfit, we thought it was just a little too over the top. It's got stars in it and fancy this, fancy that. He's all glowing. It's like, this isn't our Thor.
Got a little ringlet crown.
It's like, this isn't our Thor. It's like, yeah, good point. It's not our Thor. It's Thor, the Herald of freaking Galactus.
So
Big upgrade.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense why he looks all spacey and cosmic-y.
A little eternity-ish. Yes.
So it starts off with Thor doing his new King of Asgard stuff I didn't read the Jason Aaron stuff. I do know that it kind of ends with him becoming the new Odin. Well, not quite Odin, but the new Allfather.
I have to say that part was really boring.
Yeah, it was kind of just like basic Thor stuff. I was like, oh, this isn't that cool.
Yeah.
But then the plot kicks in when Galactus crashes into Asgard.
I did not see that coming.
Escaping something called the Black Winter, which is apparently what ended the prior universe.
That he was, Galactus is actually the survivor of a prior universe. He carried over into our universe, and I guess because of that, he's like the devourer of worlds.
He's the last living thing from the prior universe.
Black Winter is what destroyed his universe to begin with. So now that's what we're dealing with in this universe. That kind of ups the ante quite a bit.
And so Galactus reveals that the Black Winter is kind of like him, where it looks different to everyone who sees it, and just so the Destroyer. And Galactus received a vision of Thor killing him. So to kind of even his odds, he turns Thor into his Herald and says, all right, we'll team up. We'll defeat this back, and then we'll duke it out. We'll see what happens.
It should also be noted that one of Galactus's arms is gone.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to see that.
I wonder what that looks like to other creatures. It was like missing tentacles or missing a double head or some crazy shit like that.
It's like to 8-armed individuals. Does he look like he only has 6?
Yeah, I enjoyed the fact that when they revealed that Galactus looks completely different to every alien, and that's the reason why he looks like a human being to us. This is a conceptual being, you know? Yeah.
Who happens to wear miniskirts sometimes.
He does, every single time.
And everyone has to see it because he's that tall.
And, that's right. We always have to look up the skirt. Why did Kirby do that to us?
I mean, he quickly fixed it. He got pants real quick. He put on some tights under.
That doesn't make him a Scottish gentleman, though.
No, it makes him gallon of tar.
Moving right along.
So Donny Cates, you did get on this one.
I expected Null to show up at any moment.
Apparently, he tweeted that Null will not be showing up in his Thor run. I guess because
he's a little self-aware.
Yeah.
That he is now a meme amongst the comic adorers. It's like, when's Null going to show up and ruin your story?
This was a pleasant surprise, and highly recommend it. Quite good.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where this goes, especially because he's with all the other heralds.
So like Fire Lords hanging out there. Is it Wind Rider? I think.
Are you talking about the weird one with the wings?
Yeah, there's like a fishy one.
Yeah.
There's the 4 elemental ones.
There's Redshift and Terex. I think Redshift was in there.
I'm fairly certain Terex was there. I think, was Nova there?
Yes.
Yeah, Nova was there.
Because she was doing this the whole time.
Yeah. And of course, CGR was there.
CGR?
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh.
That was my one point against it. I was like, I'm sick of this guy.
Yeah,
but he's just there for like 1 or 2 panels.
Yeah, they had to give him a sit down at the table, but it doesn't look like he's really in for the long haul with the rest of them.
Yeah, and he has his own book right now, so he's too busy.
They did mention at the very end that he's with like a dozen heralds, so that sounds like all of them to me.
Yeah, Galactus rolling with his whole crew now.
Even Airwalker, but you had to fit in on that one.
Yeah, Airwalker. There we go. I was thinking Wind Rider. Airwalker.
Oh, that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so now we're into the X books.
And the Hickman stuff.
Quite possibly the best issue of X-Men yet.
I really love this.
Oh my God.
I know what you're talking about, X-Men 4.
Yeah, X-Men number 4 by Jonathan Hickman and Francis Yu it's mostly just talking, but my God, was Hickman born to write Magneto speeches.
Absolutely.
The whole sequence.
I had to laugh every time I think about it. Every time Magneto is speaking is like, damn.
the whole speech where he talks about how it's like, oh, we're not going to like go to war with you. No, we tried that before when we learned what humans do. We're going to get all of your money and we're going to invest it. We're going to buy your banks, buy your schools, buy your politicians, and we're going to just slowly take over. It's just like just him at Davos. They go to the Davos summit.
Yes.
And they're having dinner with the world leaders. And Magneto's just like, yeah, it's going to happen. Like, we can join up or...
We've already figured out how long it takes for this to happen. 1 month. That's how long it took for you to send assassins to kill me.
Yeah.
As you can see, I can't be killed.
And meanwhile, there were mercs ready to kill Xavier
on the floor
Magneto
above and below.
Wow.
And that's when you find out that Xavier Magneto and Ensaban are also known as Apocalypse or A.
No one calls him A in this issue, unfortunately.
My stuff. Brought in some muscle in Cyclops and Gorgon.
Yeah, surprised to see Gorgon, deep cut.
Now, some of you may not know who Gorgon is. Gorgon is a mutant that obviously for the name implies you can turn people into stone, but that's not really his coolness. He's super intelligent, super agility, super strength, all this other stuff combined with Hydra mysticism because he's like one of the Hydra lords. Yeah. And he proceeds to cut off the arms of every single one of the troops. I
love that. His whole little speech about how before I would have killed you, but Xavier taught me that it's far better to take your honor and like let you live in the shame.
I was like, I saw he was talking to the guy. I was like, the guy's missing an arm. Hey, wait a minute.
And there's like a pile of arms. Yeah, Gorgon rules. I like him quite a bit.
Gorgon. And of course, the blurb in the middle of it says that any time that the leadership's going out, odds are Gorgon is going to be there.
They bring their boys.
Like, they got the right guy for it.
I also want to shout out the exchange where Magneto's talking about is like, yeah, humanity kind of just like caves in on itself every so often. Like going from the Roman Empire to the Dark Ages. Haven't you ever wondered how that happened?
Or what happened to the Bronze Age? We don't know what happens. And Apocalypse is like, I know what happened. Me.
So good. I was there. You should care.
You should care.
Also, Apocalypse's 3-piece suit. We haven't done a lot of image shout outs this episode, but this deserves it.
Yeah. You know what? They actually tried to address him by his proper name, but he corrected them. He goes, you can call me Apocalypse.
So my other names are not fit for you to say.
Yes.
Or you're not fit to say my other names.
They got so detailed in this issue. They even told you what they were eating and it looked really good.
I do love me a good 3-course dinner issue.
Yeah.
Batman had one a couple of years ago that was really cool.
Yeah. That steak that Magneto was eating during his entire dialogue. He's eating this steak completely fearless that they would possibly put something in it. Cause that's what's going through my head because they've already tried to put a bullet in Xavier. They got murder squads here to do it again. And they're getting him food. Something, they're probably going to poison his food. Flat doesn't care. I'm gonna eat my steak and I'm going to tell my dialogue. We're going to pack our shit and we're going to get out of here. That's exactly what they end up doing.
Take our mutant ball and go home.
Don't even have to bring a Wolverine. We don't have to bring anything crazy. No Psylocke. We just brought Gorgon and Cyclops. We're cool. I've really enjoyed the fact that Hickman has been writing X-Men from a place of almost arrogance, but a place of power. So people are having to deal with them instead of subjugating them.
Yes. It's the X-Men not talking down to people.
Right.
There's like, here we are on our own terms, deal with it.
And there's really very little you can do about it.
Oh, it's so good.
Moving right along, we got Marauders number 5, and it looks like we got the entire corps. We got Christian Frost has finally shown up.
I'm so glad to see Christian Frost come back in the last couple of years.
Yes, a very decadent dresser, I might add.
Oh my God, the costumes in Marauders are just
yes,
so good.
I actually love the fact that Kate Pryde and White Queen are getting along.
Yes,
I don't know why, but I just enjoy it because there was a little bit of snark thrown back and forth. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
They're just gonna start hating each other, and they start hugging it out. I'm like,
I really like the mutual respect that's grown between them since Astonishing X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, back when Kitty Pryde was first introduced, she was actually going to be taken into the Massachusetts Academy by White Queen, and she brings that up. Yeah. I wonder what I would have done if I had ended up going with you.
I was far younger. I would have destroyed you.
Yes.
And I really loved I can't remember what it's called, the submarine that Christian's driving around in.
Not the usurper, which is what Shinobi is
No,
in.
it's the upstart.
The upstart.
Yeah, because he was part of the upstart.
Yes.
But yeah, they talk about how the interior shifts, and they mention how the controls this week was a grand piano. It's like,
I wondered
that's
about
so
that.
cool.
That was a nice looking
that.
ship.
Yeah,
I like
really,
the
really
kind of like a fleet going on.
I liked
now.
Iceman going to the ice caps and just shooting out some ice to help counterbalance.
You know, when I saw them at Iceman and Christian side by side, I'm thinking, this is not a mistake.
I like this couple. I support it.
I do too.
Stay
because,
frosty.
I mean, the way Christian dresses, he's kind of tipping his hat where his allegiances lie.
Well, yeah, Christian's been established gay since he was created.
Oh, has he?
That was, in the Emma solo book back in the early 2000s. Like, one of his big things is that Emma finds out that he's gay because when she discovers she
I
has
probably
telepathy.
knew that and I've just glossed over it. And when I saw what he was dressed, I was like, oh, well, that is a handsome
Can we
gay
show
man.
his suit? Because his suit's amazing.
Yeah, check out this suit. It's like he's got like a sash that goes from the inside and then wraps around to his back and then comes out the side. It's like, that's a pretty cool looking suit.
Yeah, you can tell he's a Frost and not a Gray because he actually knows how to dress himself.
Exactly. And it's like, oh yeah, we got to talk about your name. Can't call you Frost. It's kind of my thing. And of course, we see the reappearance of Pyro's poor decision making.
It really is just like ticking down the days until Pyro's face gets melted off.
Every time I see him, I see this clock right next to him. It goes, you've got 12 more days of life left on you.
And I really want to mention the final page, which has me super, super hyped for the next issue because it's got my boy, the Hate Monger, in it.
Oh, God. The
I love Hate Monger.
And the Exterminator. Executioner.
Carl the Executioner.
Who are both notorious anti-mutant.
Yes.
But man, Hate Monger.
Love the Hate.
They really had to go far back for that.
For people who don't know the Hate Monger,
oh wow,
he is in his first appearance in Fantastic Four. It's issue 30 something, I think. He's this guy dressed like a purple Klansman who has a hate ray that he shoots into crowds to whip people up into xenophobic frenzy. And when the FF beat him, they unmask him, and it's a clone of Adolf Hitler.
There was no subtlety to this whatsoever.
It's great. I love Hate Monger. And one of my favorite books this is a bit more than a decade ago at this point. I think this was like in 2009 probably, was David Liss and Francesco Francovilla's Black Panther Man Without Fear.
Mm-hmm.
They have a new version of the Hate Monger where he's just this like kind of disaffected asshole.
Yeah.
And there's this great like 2-panel bit where T'Challa is like working on something and Hate Monger's monologuing in the background, and T'Challa just boom, without even looking up, going, quiet, I'm working.
Now,
so good. As
over the top as the Hickman books have gone, I'm almost certain this is the first Hate Monger we're dealing with.
Oh, like the classic Hitler one? It
has to be.
I'll be delighted. Or if, at the very least, if they do a dramatic unmasking like in the original FF and it's just some dude.
It's some dude. Or maybe it's like Adolf Hitler with his mustache shaved off or something like that.
Wait a minute. Someone puts the finger.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a fraction moment. It's like, hey, that guy looks familiar. There it is.
Yeah. I've been loving Gerry Duggan's work on this title. He's actually going to do the Kid Cable book that's coming out. And I was like, well, I don't really care about Kid Cable, but I do like Gerry Duggan.
I'll give it a shot. I mean, obviously, we're going to look at it here. It's one of the Hickman books.
Yeah.
We're going to give at least all the Hickman globe of books one shot before we absolutely just throw up our hands and give up on it like we did with Fallen Angels.
Yeah. Which
that rolls into this.
For the next issue of X-Men number 5 is going to have Laura in it wearing the Wolverine costume.
I'm so excited about this.
I'm so happy about that.
And my boy Sync from Generation X, back from the dead.
And Darwin.
Yeah.
Probably not a Death God anymore since Siren's not the Morrigan either. No.
And Sync is wearing his Generation X colors.
He got his big old chunky gauntlets.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm really kind of curious to see how he interacts with the rest of them.
Sync has been dead for close to 20 years now, huh?
At least.
Yeah, because I think he died in the Counter X stuff?
He died during the Generation X line, like around issue 64.
Yeah, so like near the end. I think, was that when Counter X was happening? No, Counter X was a bit after. Because that was like, I think it ended up, 75?
He died during that whole thing that was going on with Emma Frost's siblings.
That's right.
Yeah, I think one of them ended up offing him. I think it was her older sister.
Yeah. Just the worst.
Yeah, which is really strange because if you read the Emma Frost miniseries, she gets along with most of her siblings.
Yeah.
And it's a serious departure from when they actually show up, and they're all hated enemies.
I mean, to be fair, I'll take the Emma Solo book over a lot of that latter day Gen X stuff because I love Generation X, but definitely the back half is much weaker than the first.
Although I did enjoy the fact that Christian has been pretty much steadily always been in Camp Emma.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I'm kind of curious to see where they go with him now. They've actually trying to flesh him out as a real character.
Yeah, all of this, the Hellfire Bishop drama, I'm here for it. Love it all.
Yeah, now that it's come full circle, everybody's got their bishops and everything like that. We're finally having proper
Shinobi,
meetings.
Christian, and Lucas Bishop.
Yeah, and Kate Pryde's fancy red coat.
One of my favorite things is the mutant fashion, courtesy of Jumbo Carnation.
Yeah, they have gone kind of out of their way with establishing the clothes from Krakoa and clothes from outside.
I loved Emma's line as when they have the new bunch of mutants come in from the Marauders saying, well, first things first, we'll have to get them out of those dreadful human clothes.
That's what kind of caught my attention too. It's like, oh yeah, everybody is kind of dressed a little fancy.
I really am waiting for Jumbo Carnation to actually show up on panel because they mentioned him. He's been mentioned a couple times.
Help me understand who Jumbo Carnation is.
Jumbo Carnation is a mutant fashion designer who was introduced in New XMen as his assassination. He's like publicly assassinated at a red carpet event. And that's the inciting incident that radicalizes Quentin Quire.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's a character that has 1 page of screen time ever, but he's very, very important to New X-Men.
And of course, since all mutants are back,
exactly. And I think it was one of the Sinister Secrets. Like mentions he's like the flower with the most or something is back. There's like just an offhand reference to him.
Is that the Sinister lines?
Yeah,
because Sinister is just catty enough to do this.
Yeah, one of the Sinister Secrets was about Jumbo Carnation.
Is it
and then
catty
he's
or
been
fabulous? Is it fabulous?
He can be both.
I think he's fabulous.
He's excellent. And I think with that, we are going to take our break before news.
Hey everybody, this is Brooke with Haphazard Fiction, and thanks for tuning in to the first episode of 2020 for Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week. Casey, Gideon, myself, and Robert are all really excited that you guys are tuning in with us. We really appreciate those of you that have stuck with us. If you're new to the channel, please stick around. We'd love to hear from you. You know, we definitely would love to get those comments, likes, subscribes, any input we can possibly get, guys. You're only going to help us get better. So we do appreciate that. You know, as we grow into 2020, we want to be able to add more onto our channel. So if you would like to become a patron, that would be super beneficial to us, and you can find that just by going to patreon.com and searching Haphazard Fiction. And since you've been with us this long, we are going to be throwing up a bonus episode here pretty soon. It's going to be the Casey and Gideon's Best of the Decade, so keep an eye open for that. But for now, I take you back to Casey and Gideon with episode 18 of Hazardous Materials.
And welcome back. We just took a little extended break there, so we're ready to give you your news. And Casey, you actually brought this to my attention during the break because I had not heard about this, and I'm very excited for this news.
Yes, Kevin Smith. Of course, everybody knows if you're following Kevin Smith, you know he's doing Clerks 3. He's finally gotten Jeff Anderson to sign on.
Thank God.
I'm really excited about that because I was really heartbroken that he had to cancel his complete other script. It's gone. It has nothing to do with what he's doing now. And I think it's cool because from what I understand, the old Clerks 3 script was going to be kind of death-faced, fatalistic, because this is before his heart attack.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of that morbid death thing. I don't know why, but that was what was going on in that script. So he scrapped that. Jeff Anderson didn't want anything to do with it. He met up with Jeff Anderson after he did the Ben Affleck reunion tour.
One tier.
And so, yeah,
Powerful.
exactly. So we're doing Clerks 3, but the development is apparently people involved have gotten a little interested in Brody Bruce's role in the reboot. If you've actually found a way to watch Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which didn't get a proper release, it was actually came out as part of a tour that Kevin Smith was doing. But in this, if you've seen Mallrats, Brody Bruce is in this, and he's got his comic shop in the mall, and he showcases just how much mall culture is dying off. And it's like, I'm just in here because the rent is really cheap. But anyway, there's an idea for that, and that idea now is Twilight of the Mallrats. So we're
Such
gonna
a good title.
investigate the absolute, I guess, the moratorium on mall culture. So that's what's going on over there. I'm kind of excited about that because he's been trying to follow up for Mallrats for quite some time.
I remember, a few years ago that it just kind of fell apart, and I was very disappointed just because Mallrats might be my favorite Kevin Smith movie. It's probably not his best movie, but it's the one that I most want to rewatch.
There's a lot of problems with it on the fact that another company owns it.
Oh, gotcha.
Gramercy originally owned it, and
It's
whoever bought
unfortunate.
Gramercy's lot when they went out of business has the control of Mallrats. So when they say, hey, I want to make a movie, and the people controlling it goes, we don't want you to do that. It's like, okay, how about a miniseries? He was going to make a miniseries. It was going to involve his kids, and he was going to do that. That didn't pan out. Then he said, I'm going to do Clerks 3. Jeff Anderson bailed on that. That didn't pan out. It was a real rough time for our boy Kevin. Yeah. So now the kind of the bricks are falling in line, and
That's
hopefully
good.
we're going to get a follow-up on it.
Fingers crossed. Following up with that, I know we always feel like every week we have a rumor about Moon Knight, but this one's particularly funny.
We're excited about this.
Rumor that Dracula will show up in Moon Knight.
Dracula, you
He owes Moon Knight money. He's coming for him.
nerd.
Gave him the phone number to the Avengers. I hope that, like, in all serious, memes aside, I do hope this actually pans out because I love Marvel Dracula, particularly old school Gene Colan, little skinny mustache Dracula.
We both like that.
So I hope we get that visual and not like, say, Twizzler armor Dracula.
I'm not excited about that at all.
Or Heatwave Dracula from Blade 3.
Yeah, that's right. That is that guy.
Old
isn't
Snake
it?
Bones Dracula.
Yeah, Prison Break Dracula.
Yeah, Dracula who had little snake bones in his face so he could shapeshift.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
They used that power once in that movie, and it doesn't
They
fool
destroyed
anyone.
their entire budget.
It's so
They
dumb.
couldn't do it again.
They go in and they see the corpse of the guy, and they look up, and there's the same guy but shirtless. And it's like, oh, that's totally not Dracula.
No, that's not Dracula.
I digress. My feelings on Blade Trinity aside.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert,
so
it actually rules. It's so bad it's good.
I don't know about that. I have a hard time. I mean, even with Ryan Reynolds, I don't think he could have saved that film.
He doesn't say the film, but Triple H does.
Yeah, this film also had Natasha Lyonne, popular from Orange is the New Black.
Patton Oswalt was in it.
Yeah, although Natasha Lyonne, this was during the time when she was having a rough go of it. Shortly after this film ended, she was actually evicted from her apartment.
Oh, that sucks.
She had a rough go of things before she got the gig of a lifetime on Netflix.
Certainly no, but I'm a cheerleader.
Oh, God, I actually watched that too.
Great movie.
It's so bizarre.
I love me some John Waters.
But she did her own project, Russian Doll. Did you check that out?
I've been meaning to.
It's so cool.
That's what I hear. Thursday. What a concept.
There's an excessive amount of death involved in it.
Oh, always a fun
I don't know
time.
if you know the concept of this. We're going to go on a fun tangent because we can afford it. Russian Doll.
It's a light week.
It's a light week. Natasha Lyonne's Netflix thing, Russian Doll, is all about her at this party that she went to for her friends. It starts off with, she's in the sink getting her face cleaned up. And you can tell she doesn't really want to be at this party. She wants to leave. So she does. It goes on these beats. She talks to her friend. She says hi to her friends here, says goodbye here, and then leaves, and then is promptly killed by a taxi cab. Then, boom. She's back in that bathroom.
Oh, it's Groundhog Day.
Washing her face. They had full of Groundhog Day. And she goes, okay. So she tries to leave the place. And then she ends up falling down the stairs and dying. So it keeps killing her every single day.
I for one, am happy for this Groundhog Day renaissance between that and Happy Death Day.
Yeah, see, this is a big difference. Between Happy Death Day, there's no murder. And Groundhog Day, he could just keep going and he's offs himself. But she keeps getting killed in a variety of ways. She can't get around it. She's going to come back. And that same day, she's going to get killed. She's going to come back and she has to figure it out. Surprisingly enough, even though the storyline is kind of resolved by the end, this is going to have a season 2.
Oh,
I don't know where they're going to go with that.
interesting. Oh, good for them.
Highly recommend you check this out.
It's on the list.
Okay.
Which another show on the list. I'm actually going to go ahead and jump a couple of spots down our script here, but works out well. The Witcher
Yes.
Renewed for season 2.
I loved this show.
Apparently one of Netflix's most top watched shows.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from what I understand, The Witcher 3 came out in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And since the release of this show, sales of this thing have just gone crazy.
As someone who only owns one game on my PS4, I might have to go back and buy it.
I actually ended up buying it.
Nice.
And they said there's more people playing The Witcher right now than there were when it first came out.
I mean, that makes sense. A lot of eyeballs on the property right now.
Yeah, and it's a scandalous bit of video gaming. I didn't realize what I was getting into when I bought this thing.
I've got a lot of buddies who are very, very into The Witcher. A roommate of mine was playing through it, and I remember coming home when it was particularly steamy scene. I was just like, it's this kind of day.
It's that kind of game. So they got really good casting. Henry Cavill does great as the titular character. Whoever they got for Yennefer, which is the mage kind of backup character. I don't know the actress's name, but it will be a spring wedding. I'm just saying that right now. I am in love with this woman. She does greatness as the character born of nothing and becomes this being of power over like 100 years.
That's fun.
They did a really good storyline with her.
That's cool. I'm excited to check the show out. I do like me some good fantasy stuff, and the fights look amazing. I watched a video of one of the sword fights, and there's just so much weight in the combat.
And they're not afraid of stabbing people in the neck.
Yeah, I also saw a couple of those.
There's a big fan of neck stabbing. A fair amount of this. The timeline can get a little confusing. I didn't realize. Well, God, I don't really want to say too much, but
I've heard that it kind of jumps around and just does short stories,
and you don't realize that the jumping around is happening until like well into the show. Like I was in like episode 5 or 6 before we realized, oh, that happened 12 years ago. Okay, now this makes sense.
Henry Cavill is immortal, so
yeah, but all the other characters just like his bard. His bard, it shows he's with him at the very beginning, and then he runs into him like years later, but doesn't give you that transitionary time. You just the bard just kind of comes off screen and goes, "Oh, hey, I haven't seen you." And I was like, what, like a day or something? It's like, it's been years. I'm like,
oh,
what are you babbling about?
Did I miss an
Apparently
episode?
It's been about 12, 13 years since he's seen his bard friend. And of course, coins the infamous song, which has gone meme crazy.
I've heard.
Toss a coin to your Witcher, which is very cool. I love this song. I've sung it to myself when no one is around.
Delightful. Well, speaking of streaming shows, how about that Mando?
How about that Mando? I love this Mando.
I had my issues with the Mandalorian starting out. The last couple episodes really tied everything together for me. It really addressed a lot of the problems I had, and it made it a nice little unit of storytelling.
Yeah, since we've got a few, it's been a little while since the last episode came out. I think we've got enough time that we're not really spoiling things. We're going to tell you right now. We're going to talk about episode 8, the very last episode, 7 and 8. So you got your spoiler warning.
If you don't want to hear it, just hammer that skip 15 seconds button.
Yeah, we're going to put a little marker when we're done talking about The Mandalorian. I think the marker is going to be WandaVision.
Yeah.
So when you see the WandaVision thing pop up, then everything is good. Anyway, yeah, how about Jason Sudeikis punching poor baby Yoda?
Oh, Madam Pally, too.
Okay, so we got an episode directed by Taika Waititi.
Yes, love him.
Wherein we have biker scouts. These 2 biker scout stormtroopers played by Jason Sudeikis and what was the other gentleman's name?
Adam Pally.
And they have Baby Yoda in a bag, and he's fidgeting. And every once in a while, these bastards are punching poor Baby Yoda.
Never have I seen so quickly an establishment. I was like, oh, this guy needs to die. And your boy IG-11 rolls in.
Oh my God, the nurse from hell. IG-11 was an absolute hero.
I love how much Taika gave himself to do with this episode. He's like, oh, I'm directing the episode. I'm going to give my character the coolest shit.
Everything is cool.
His little T2 moment, I have expected him to start like giving a thumbs up when he was going in the lava.
Yeah, so the fact he had Baby Yoda strapped to his chest, and when we went into battle, his chest revolved and his arms came around, so he was firing from his back so you couldn't hit him.
So good. God bless that baby.
I was I was emotionally invested in IG-11.
I've got hella stocks in IG-11.
Yes, I was invested And when IG-11 says, I've got to go, I was like, no, you don't. You've got at least another whole series I want to talk to you about.
This
when he
sweet
does
robot.
make the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah. Blows up a lot of stormtroopers.
Because Moff Gideon brought in a ton of white suits to take out our boys.
I do think it's absolutely hysterical that one of my big issues with Mando starting, I was like, it's kind of the plotting is very video gamey where he just does a quest and gets gear, and they finish up the series by him getting a jetpack.
Yes, it's all about upgrades. It's like the easiest game plot we've ever seen.
Oh, so good.
I enjoyed this Mandalorian, which was a good thing for me because I had some misgivings.
Yeah.
About Rise of Skywalker. And I've seen that Mandalorian is the one thing that all Star Wars people don't argue about.
It's united people.
It has.
But you know what doesn't unite me?
What's that?
The stupid goddamn Darksaber.
You are a Darksaber hater.
I think it's very, very dumb.
You know, I'm going to validate what you had to say about this because the Darksaber does seem to me like fanfiction.
It's super fanficky.
Yes, it's very Mary Sue.
Yeah, it's the most Drizzt Do'Urden thing. Sorry, Drizzt fans.
Wow.
Let me rephrase that.
That is a valid reference, though. That's a valid reference.
Like, Drizzt is cool. But what's not cool is everyone who copies Drizzt and tries to make their own character have like 2 tigers and 2 cool fancy swords and being the one good dark elf.
Okay, so you have to explain to people what Drizzt is now.
Okay, he is who wrote those books?
Oh,
R.A. Salvatore.
Thank you.
He's an R.A. Salvatore creation who is basically a D&D. Is it his D&D character or is it just a character that he was handed? It's his D&D character.
It's his character.
And there's been multiple official novels about him, and he's just the coolest guy ever. He's got these 2 fancy swords that have some sort of fancy deal about him. He's got
like ebony or ivory or
at
something
least
like that.
1 pet tiger.
Yeah.
He's just the biggest badass in the realm.
And he's a drow elf.
And he's a drow, but he's like a good drow.
He's a good drow.
Yeah.
Which is an exceptional thing.
Yeah. It's... And like they're good, well-written books.
Yeah.
But is he a very, very much... I was like, oh, this guy's just writing his D&D character.
Well, it's much like the writing that Boba Fett was getting during the Legendary time.
Yeah, it's very much... It feels like I'm 14 and this is my first character.
Yeah.
Kind of like... Have you read the... in the visual dictionary for Rise of Skywalker, the Knights of Ren all get little bios. They're hysterical.
I heard they had bios, but they really don't last that long.
They are so over the top and goofy.
Really?
They're like, he likes to slowly draw out his victim's torture. He is a cold, methodical sniper. And they're just, it's like, okay, what 14-year-old boys do we let into the writer's room for this one?
They are.
JJ, did you let your son write this again?
These men are action figures.
They are. But
they really are.
It's kind of charming, though.
And I will not lie. I'm kind of curious about getting them.
It's so dumb. It's charming.
I want to have my lineup of the Knights of Ren. After their perilous moments. I want to have their wounds.
One of my favorite bits in Rise of Skywalker where the stormtroopers are like, whoa, Knights of Ren. Cool.
It always blows my mind when the stormtroopers talk normal.
I am here for the modern day chatty stormtroopers.
Speaking of chatty stormtroopers, how about that complete self-awareness moment when the stormtroopers all try to target shoot and they just keep missing? It's like right there.
When they're rattling the guns. So good. Rephrase the question then. Are stormtroopers actually bad shots or is Imperial tech just super shoddy?
I think it's because of the helmets.
I mean, that's true too.
That's the headcanon I'm going with is the fact they have to wear these horror helmets and just makes their depth perception complete garbage.
And you know,
because Bill Burr's character, remember, he was like,
not a stormtrooper.
I'm not a stormtrooper, you ass.
I'm a sharpshooter.
I was like, that's not saying much.
I really hope Bill Burr comes back for season 2.
Oh, you should.
Fingers crossed. I love that whole crew. That's my favorite. That was I don't know. The first Cara Dune episode is real good. Finale's real good. And the Jailbreak episode real good.
And they did manage to not kill any of them.
Yeah.
Which I was really sure they were going to kill Clancy Brown's character because they caught him between the doors.
And then she's good. The variants. Yeah. Tough bastards.
Yep. Or Tonks is the Twi'lek.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. We'll see them, I think.
Fingers crossed. Maybe they'll get a comic book.
What do you, now that we've seen the entire series, and everybody here has seen the entire series, what do you think about the stinger at the end of episode 5?
What was the Stinger episode 5?
This is the episode where you met with the junior level bounty hunter and they went off to go fight Ming-Na Wen's assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do the credits. Everything's cool. And then you see somebody's approaching Ming-Na Wen's character.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I've done a little bit of research.
Boba Fett?
Yes.
Boba Fett where?
Yes. So everybody's thinking, oh, yeah, whatever. Boba Fett. Right. I have facts. Okay.
He's got the evidence.
So number one, a lot of people don't really realize this, but when Boba Fett walks, he walks with the sound of spurs, even though they're clearly not there. The sound is there.
Famous cowboy Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's got spur sounds, but he's also got a little.
He rides those dinosaurs in the animated special.
But that spur noise is there in the walk up.
I did notice that there were spurs.
But here's another thing that's going on. If you've seen the New Hope, the special edition, where Jabba the Hutt kind of
creepy CG Jabba, yeah,
right.
I recall.
Boba Fett's in that show too.
Yeah,
now, as he's
he
turning
looks
around,
at the camera and it's very awkward.
But if you listen in the background, there's a little bit of radio chatter that's coming off of his helmet. It's like kind of weird little noise. If you go back and watch that episode, not only you hear the spurs, you hear that radio chatter.
Oh, that's interesting.
So we got 2 audio cues that this is our boy Fett.
So we're gonna get Boba v. Mando, Dawn of Justice.
I'm thinking we're going to get an entire season of it. That's the reason why I don't think that they wasted it in the last episode. And they just went with Grand Moff Gideon.
Yeah. I was very happy with that. I was like, there's a Star Wars character with my name and he's played by Giancarlo Esposito? Hell yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I play Star Trek Online. My main ship, this is before, of course, I start talking with you, is called the USS Gideon.
That's very cool. I appreciate that. Yes.
And I didn't change it. I didn't change it after I talked to you.
See, I'm glad you told me instead of just me seeing one day and being like, oh, I'm flattered, but
I'm also creeped out.
Set phasers to run away.
Gotta lock your hair up here on this little pedestal. No one touches this except me.
If you do have to make me a crew member, Ferengi is my favorite Star Trek race. So I'm a big Ferengi guy.
There'll be no Ferengi on my ship.
Oh. Wow.
I am decidedly racist against Ferengi.
Wallace Shawn will know about this.
All right, so moving on from our Star Wars fanboy explosion here.
WandaVision. So speaking of Mando, which I'm sure a lot of...
Hold on for 1 second. Stop laughing. For God's sakes, pull yourself together. We're professionals.
We'll get it in post. So, as I'm sure you've probably seen... Probably a ton of people have dropped their Disney Plus subs since Mando's ended.
Almost immediately after that.
Because they have no other new content.
Calling out the Mando drop.
Yeah. Well, I feel like as a part way to address this, Disney has bumped up the release date of WandaVision to 2020 from 2021.
Yes. They want to get that ball rolling as quickly as possible.
They're like, man, we gotta have that fresh new content.
Gotta have that. I was hearing that they were gonna have like Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and all of those as early as 2020. I also
had heard they were saying that, but I don't know how much I buy into that.
I'm not putting a lot of stock in that.
Especially She-Hulk, which ideally will be pretty CG heavy. Miss Marvel and Moon Knight of the 3, you can dance around the CG the easiest. Kamala, you got to do like some stretchy stuff. So
some super stretchy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not going to have that Roger Corman Fantastic Four effects. So
I think we're going to have the same effects we see in the Flash with the elongated man.
Probably. And Elongated Man looks pretty good, all things considered.
Okay.
Yeah. He looks better than Yohan Griffith did in Fantastic Four.
Oh, God. You keep bringing that one up, aren't you?
The creepy ass dance scene.
Oh, God.
I love it.
All right. So we've got a little something going on here. A buddy of mine has actually got his own YouTube show about fitness, knows do's and don'ts and kind of stuff like that. Really cool cat, Kevin Meyer, and he's got his thing called Pure Bullfit, and they're doing something, and it's going to interact with us a little bit.
Oh, a crossover event, you say?
A crossover. So it appears that Kevin is doing a poll for him to do cosplay that he's going to showcase in the next episode. And we're going to do a little information blurb about the character he's going to select.
I'm very excited. I hope it's a character that I know still about.
Well, interestingly enough, he's already told me that it's between 2 of them right now. It's between Kraven the Hunter and our boy the Witcher.
Oh, I don't know much about the Witcher, but I do know that Kraven.
I hope Kraven wins.
I feel like it's going to be the Witcher, though.
With the show, yeah, probably.
He's got that Netflix bump.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to actually come up with some kind of an info bomb about our boy the Witcher or Kraven. I'm going with the Sergio.
I'll wear my Kraven shirt next week just in case.
You have a Kraven shirt?
Oh, it's so good. I've probably worn it a couple
You
episodes.
probably have, and I don't remember it. Maybe I was going blind, starry-eyed at you.
Well, so in the meantime, sub to Pure Bullfit, I believe.
Pure
correct?
Bullfit. We got there's a link for it down there. You can check it out for yourself, and hopefully we'll be hearing from him fairly soon. Find out who the winner is.
Yeah, and on that note, actually, we've got one more thing to plug.
We got one more thing to plug.
We are going to be releasing, actually, I might be coming out on the same date. I'm not 100% sure what our schedule is going to be on this, but our best of the decade list for comics. Now, this is not the objective official, like, best comics. These are just our personal favorites.
Yeah, stuff that we've read, because, I mean, I clearly a lot of people were talking about how truly awesome Saga is. We haven't read Saga.
I mean, I've read Saga.
You read part of Saga.
It's just not my favorite.
I read like a few issues of it, but not enough to really call it.
I've read about half of it, and I like it a lot. And every time I read it, I'm like, oh, this is great. Why don't I read more Saga? But like, it's not my favorite Brian K. Vaughan book of the decade.
So we dug through our back issue books because as comic book nerds, we've got a healthy collection. I've got like 10, 12 boxes just sitting in my kitchen and so I just kind of went through all that to see what I was really dealing with. And we're going to do a thing on it and completely ignore the fact that we're going to be wearing the exact same clothes in that episode.
I'm regretting not bringing my trades of my favorites to spread out on the table.
Yeah, well, or bring a change of clothes to kind of give that illusion. This is the next day.
Yeah,
and not that we're going to be recording it in about 10 minutes.
I mean, you can just pop your hoodie off. I didn't bring a jacket with me.
I like this hoodie. This hoodie makes me happy.
Well, on that note, as always, we are a fledgling podcast and could use whatever support you can hand out, be that likes, be they subscribes, or even be they subscribing to our Patreon, which would be super, super cool. So
that would be super awesome of you. Just a heads up, we record at the end of the week to drop an episode right before the comics come out, usually on a Tuesday. Sometimes going to happen on Wednesday. My producer's telling me that we're going to run a little late on one of our episodes. It's going to show up on Wednesday, but usually Tuesday.
Yes.
So check out us on our Patreon. We also drop all the images that we showcase in this show and our Instagram. So we're doing it for the gram.
Yep.
Anything we got to do to get ourselves out of the fledgling status and into the super pro rolling around in money. We don't have to do day jobs anymore kind of routine.
Get those fat podcast bucks.
Gonna get those fat YouTube checks that don't exist. But yeah, that kind of wraps up for this. And I guess we'll see you here in a few minutes.
Yeah. Have a good one.